Barry Gaines of GainesCon Film Festival and Gaines Entertainment LLC. And today I am going to review Predator Badlands. Now, before we get into it, the way I do my reviews, 'cause I'm kind of new to this, I think it's my fourth one or whatever, just let you know that I pretty much just go over what I thought about the film. I don't go all deep into it. A lot of times people can care less if you go too deep into it. So I'm just going to give you like this kind of a roundabout feel of what I think the movie is, obviously a viewer and a fan of the action genre, and also through the eyes of a filmmaker as myself. So, number one, Predator Badlands. Now, let me tell you something about this. I didn't go. I listen. Listen. I'm like I've been around for a little while, right? I'm 55, so I've seen all the Predator films, and a lot of times too, I saw another Predator come out, and I'm a fan of Predator, but every now and then you kind of say, I'm kind of Predator out. But when this one came in, I didn't expect too much. I saw the trailer. After the trailer was cool, but it wasn't really kind of bringing me in as much. But so I had some time on my hands, and I went ahead and I saw the film, sat down, got my popcorn, you know what I'm saying, got my soda, kind of relaxed and whatnot, just by myself, chilling in the theater like in the afternoon. And it started, and let me tell you something, man. I was in once, I say probably about maybe 8 minutes to 10 minutes in, no lie, around that time, because I remember just looking at my watch at the time, like, wow, I'm already in this. The movie just captures me because a lot of the Predator films, we pretty much know the gist. We know what they do, and we know, kind of like, what's the purpose in a way of what they do, but not really knowing their culture. Like, just see them live a day by day without actually going hunting for anything, just being. And this movie brings you into that realm of them just being, who they are to an extent. It's not like you have everybody, but you start to see, who they are, just being around their own kind. No humans, nothing's just them. And that what brought me in, because I'm like, oh, okay, you start hearing speaking their language much more. This film has them speaking a whole lot. And pretty much once you see how it starts and everything, I'm not going to give it away. This is not a spoiler, okay? I'm not going to spoil everything, so I'm going to be very generic. If you want to spoil a review or anything like that, and you like what I'm telling you, let me know. Go ahead and let's like, share, subscribe, and YouTube, because right now I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So wherever you seeing me right now or seeing this re-air, if you're actually watching any of it, I'm in all those. So yeah, so hit me up there, if you want a spoiler review. But right now, I'm not giving one. Anyway, let me get right to it, okay? So this film, number one, is directed by Dan Trachtenberg. And Dan Trachtenberg did the prior to Predator, you could say, films in a way. You had the cartoon with the Killer Killers. And then you had Prey, he was all about that. And then he did this one, which is Predator Badlands. Predator Badlands stars Elle Fanning. And let me see if I get this gentleman's name right. The man who is playing the main Predator that you see all over the trailers, right? Even on the, the movie poster right now. Gentleman's name is Demetrius Schuster Kalamatingi. All right. Hopefully I got that right. So, sir, if you see this, I'm just doing my best. So, but anyway, yeah, first of all, it was amazing. I think that Elle Fanning and the gentleman who played the Predator in this one, called Deck, in the film, did a phenomenal job. The director really, really made you feel more synced with what the Predator is than I think than most films. Most films have you really connecting more with the humans. And then, of course, the Predator is there as the nemesis, the antagonist, and everyone has to kind of work around that and survive. Where this one, on the other hand, brings you into their world, saying, okay, listen, now you're going to follow this cat and you're going to see why he's doing it, what goes through with him, and you're going to feel something for him. And this is what the film gives you. You start to feel something for the Predator. And that's what's so genius about this. One great thing about this film, as opposed to many films, is that the hardest thing to do for any filmmaker a lot of times is to make you have some type of feeling or some kind of empathy that for the characters, that you just want to ride with them through the whole thing. and especially when it comes to a character with an IP like this that has nothing to do but just kill and try to kill you and everyone like you, and that is what they do. You figure like, okay, how am I going to have any feelings for a monster like this? But this film does. It's almost giving you the idea of knowing, saying, listen, don't judge this book just by its cover. You know what they do. This is what they are. But when you find out all about their culture, about what they do and why they do it, it is what it is. But at the same time, they're living their life the way they live their life, like any one of us. And, it just happens to be one of those lives that you just don't want to cross. You know what I mean? They just doing what they do. But this film has you really on edge. It really kind of gives you the stakes of why Deck has to do what he wants to do. In short, I'm not going to tell you anything you haven't seen in the trailer, but pretty much he's out to get a creature that's supposed to be unkillable. He comes across Elle Fanning, who is a synthetic, and so she's a robot pretty much. And he comes across her during his escapades on a very, very dangerous planet. This planet is, believe like the code name in the movie, I think it's called Death Planet, I believe, or something like that. It does have a name called Genna. And when you think of say King Kong Skull Island on steroids, that's pretty much it. Everything there is to kill you. So Deck is not only trying to get this prize of his in order for him to be accepted in his clan, but the whole freaking island is going after him. So he's just not just roaming around looking for what he has to look for. Things are coming from every direction. And I think that, his conquest, his duty really kind of makes you say, okay, this is what they do. I get it. We can relate to this in many ways, and a lot of us own cultures doing these things, and in a similar way, not the same, obviously, like going crazy, but we have our own like this, and Predator is just a demonstration of something like this, of course, tenfold. But he's out there with with the synthetic in the movie, which is Elle Fanning, and he just kind of meets her, and they kind of go on this conquest. Now, let me tell you this: I was really afraid because it does take a turn more than the others, where you have a little bit of comedy, and you have that kind of dynamic of meeting things and liking things. And I'm a filmmaker, I'm a viewer, a fan of films, and I don't need comedy in action. Like, I really don't. I mean, a lot of people say, well, I need a little comedy. I don't know why. I mean, what if it doesn't fit the purpose, then it doesn't fit the purpose. Just have a freaking good time watching. I don't need the comedy in anything. I mean, if it's going to be hardcore, let it be hardcore. You know what I mean? If it's going to be comedy and hardcore, then that's where it's supposed to be. But don't just throw it in there because you think it needs something. If you can't handle it, don't go see it. I'm just like that. You know what I mean? Give me what it needs to be. I don't care about the comedy. It doesn't have to be any comedy in there. I just want to see a badass, kick-ass movie that's going to bring the story where it needs to. It is going to build those characters where they need to. And the quest will be completed somehow, some way, with satisfaction to not only the character within the film, but also to all of us here in the audience. And that's all I care about. But it did have a little comedy in there, and I thought that was really kind of ruining it a little bit, because, ain't nothing funny about the Predator. You know what I mean? And you don't want to force some shit like that into the Predator, because then you fuck up the whole thing. You're like, what are you talking about? It's like making Goodfellas a comedy. Like, what are you doing? There's no point in it. But this movie has a very good balance, because I see what Dan Trachtenberg was doing when he was actually inserting a little bit of this little humor. He made sure it was just enough and not overly, where you can throw it in there just to kind of give some levity, just a little bit, and then pull right back and go right to it. And with doing so, it did not take away the hardness, the danger that Deck, the Predator, is, the badassery that he is, and how he can fight. And that was all in there, the resonance of his growl, just the style of his fighting, the tools that he had, the weapons that he used, those things were all there, full blast. And just the pace of it, the editing, just how they showed the new antagonist that came aboard, because you figure he's the antagonist, right? But really, he's not in this one. I mean, the Predator really is the protagonist in a way. He actually is in a way. So it's kind of a twist on what the Predator is. If they're not, and what's nice about it is that they're not trying to say, okay, now the Predator is all cool and everyone should just go ahead and start hugging them. That's not the point. The point is now you as a human being, you as a viewer right now are understanding the culture of this dangerous thing that's been after so many people in so many films and trying to understand, okay, this is who they are. And then when they become the prey, and you understand that, these other worlds are just not you're just not a world you just kind of go into and hang. There are other worlds out there that are very dangerous, and the Predator themselves go through these worlds to kind of show who they are and get their prize. And this is what they do because it's part of their culture. And this what leads you as a viewer to kind of start to say, oh, I think I get it now. Because then when you start thinking about the other ones, you start like reminiscing about all those scenes from the prior films. It start to kind of make sense in some way because you know how bad they are. And then when you think about the other films, you go, oh man, we had no chance, because this film kind of really shows you a little more than you know about, well, actually a nice amount more than you know about the Predator and their style and what they do and how bad they really are. Like when you see a Predator on a Predator, we haven't seen that. This gives you that. It gives you a Predator on a Predator. And then you see how badass they are, how freaking hard it is, I mean, so to us, that's why when they come to us, we try to over here with a ha, hoo, and put our guns, ha. Yeah, we're not saying much. And that's what I loved about the films, because it did say that. Yeah, we weren't saying much. But all in all, anyway, Badlands is one of those films I highly recommend all of you to watch. If you want to watch something new with the Predator, you want to watch a new world, you want to see something pretty new. I mean, when it comes to the Predator storyline, pretty new. And you just want to have fun, and have some great sound design. Sound design is absolutely incredible. You hear everything. You hear the growl, you hear things cracking, you hear the explosions. I mean, that's one thing I loved about this film too, is that the sound design is actually off the hook. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's fire for real. Because when you listen to it, you hear his clothing. You hear everyone move around. You hear all of the leather. You may hear the change when he pulls out the sword. You hear the flip of the iron, just rub it against each other just for a quick second, millisecond. Bang. You know what I mean? It's like, and you hear the buzz. So it brings you right in. Because sound is 50% of the experience of any film. And so when you hear all of that on top of great like visual effects is very, very good. I'll give it a 95%. I say 94%. Okay, because there are a few that it's like, oh, that's that's CG, but it wasn't terrible. It was just kind of like, okay, because we've seen so much, right? As movie viewers, we've seen so much. So, our eyes are already trained to see the fake from the good, from the bad, from the very good, or whatever. Our eyes are trained for that. So when we see it, we pick it up right away. But all in all, the Predator's face, those close-ups are just magnificent. You hear every freaking thing. And then when that monster that he has to go get, and when that thing comes around, you can feel the weight. You know what I mean? You can hear the wind. You can just see and feel everything. And you just out of it. And you know what? What's so cool about this is that, how when we first saw the Predator, we said, remember the joke years ago, if you guys were around, depending on how old you are, when Dutch in the first one looked at him and said, you're an ugly motherfucker, or something to that effect, right? And, we look at it, yeah, it's an ugly motherfucker. But this one made you feel like it's the same face, as the others. Well, it's a little, all of them have a little different face, but the premise, like the idea of them is pretty much the same. This one, yes, he's not the prettiest thing in the world, but you forget about that look. That shows you a lot about who we are. You know what I mean? You forget. When you start going through the adventure with this Predator in Badlands, you just forget. It becomes just another character that you want to see do his thing. Actually, you really want to see him, succeed. So yeah, Predator Badlands is badass. It really is. So I highly recommend everyone out there, if you're into Predator, you're into action, you're into some really good sci-fi stuff, this is it. And this is it. Now, there's one thing I like about this film. One other thing I really love about this film is the ending. they always say, listen, if you want anyone to pay attention to you after you speak to them about something you're speaking about or what have you, right? You want to always make sure you close well. And as for a movie, as moviegoers, movie lovers, what do we always say, right? If a movie ends well, you'll forgive a lot of what just happened before then, right? If it has a good ending, you'll be like, oh, the movie's pretty good. Yeah, it ended really well. It's good, pretty good. You forget sometime, or maybe all the shortcomings prior to that, right? Uh, this one does have a great ending for me. I just love how it ended, and you like when it ended, you just like, oh shit, what's going to happen? So to tell you, it does give you the notion that there's a lot more coming. Like you can see a lot more coming. You want to see what's happening, what's going to happen next, the way it ends. And as I said before, this review is not going to get all into the grit and all that. It's just I'm just want to describe the film to you mostly as just a viewer, like anybody else. Like, listen, I go to movies. Is the movie any good? Let me know, yes or no. What is it? And to tell you in short, yes, it's a badass movie. The movie kicks ass. It brings you into a Predator world you've never seen before. The Predator's talking like crazy, but everything is it's all subtext, which is great. By the way, let me bring it up because what I love about this too, and I heard someone mention this, and I totally agree, that the director did a great job by saying, you know what, I don't want, because he could have made it where something goes on and then you hear the Predator talk normal, like, so we can understand him. It wasn't like that. The whole movie is spoken through, or Predator Deck is speaking through his own language, and we just pretty much have to catch up. You have the subtext on there, so we gonna have to catch up with him. Not him trying to say, hey, I'm gonna be nice to you guys, so here's what I'm saying. No. This is a Predator. We know who he is, and we want to see him, in all their glory and their native tongue, and that's what you get through the whole film, in his native tongue, straightforward, and everything is subtext. Elle Fanning does help with translations because she's able to speak his language at the same time the way we hear it. He's hearing the way in his language. So the way they have it in the film was very smart, and I love that, because you really feel that's what really made you feel that you are in this world. This what made you feel that you were watching a true Predator, and you're just watching this and seeing what's going on and see them in all their glory. So yeah, I think, you know what? Again, go see this film. The film is badass, and I just had to go live and share this with you. You know what I mean? Right. So next, I want to get into briefly before I get off, because today was really about the Predator review. You know what I mean? My review, anyway. Is also this coming December 4th and 5th. Hey guys, are you going to be around anywhere in Las Vegas December 4th and 5th? If you are, love to see you come to my film festival, GainesCon Film Festival. It's going to be at the Palms Hotel in the Brendan Theater. We're going to showcase short films of action, sci-fi, fantasy, and horror films from all around the world, okay, for 2 days. We're also going to have a special presentation. Tom Welling, yes, Superman himself from Smallville. He has a new film called Mafia Wars, directed by Scott Windhauser, a well sought out after action filmmaker, indie action filmmaker in Hollywood. So we're going to have a 2-hour and 40-minute presentation, which is the whole movie pretty much, on the 5th of December. So if you're going to be there, we'd love to have you. Buy tickets at Eventbrite. Now, if you're not going to be there, you can't, but you'd still like to see what's going on, go to EOFlix, okay? Go to EOFlix. In fact, I need to put this stuff up while I'm talking to you. So you know what? Hang out with me for a little bit. I'm going to throw some stuff up here. You know what I mean? Let's see. Where am I? All right. So what I'm going to do is, let me remove this one. All right, cool. So there it goes. There it goes. So GainesCon, we're going to have a few things on the December 4th and 5th. And if you're not able to be there, do go to, give me a sec here. I'm trying to find these. Where is it? Oh, what the hell is it? Anyway, so go to EOFlix, all right, and sign up there, and you'll be able to buy a ticket and watch it live on EOFlix. Remember that, EOFlix, or Entertainment Oxygen. Yes, so we're going to be on there. And what's going to happen with that is that we're streaming it live on EOFlix while we showcase it live in the movie theater. So it's going to be two times, both ways. So either way, we're going to catch you either way. So check it out. I don't know what I did with what I needed. Let's see. I think I may have it. Oh, where did I put? Huh. Anyway, oh, here we go. All right. So go to EOFlix, all right? If you want to watch it live through a feed, because I'm going to have that on December 4th and 5th right here in Las Vegas, all right? We're going to have some great celebrities. We are going to have celebrities there. We're going to have some independent celebs here. As you see below, we're going to have my man, Michael Vignola, here, who is a film composer of many independent features from all around the world, and he's a multi-award winner. So can't wait for you to meet him. Also, we're going to have a music group called Affliction. They're always coming by every year. I love these guys. It's a husband and wife team, and we're going to have some hip hop and R&B just to kind of get the blood flowing. You know what I mean? Along with the action films. And then we're going to have my man Rustic Bonavov, who is a well-known stuntman who's been in many films in Hollywood, such as Wakanda Forever. He has a couple of new ones coming in where he's there. He's also actually in the new Michael Jackson film. He's actually one of the guys who carried the people who fainted during Michael Jackson's concert. So that's cool. So he's in there. So he's going to talk about how to be a stuntman, how to do everything that you like to see, but safely. All right. And show you how to get into the game if you're interested in being a stuntman or stuntwoman and want to get in the game. So that's what he's there to do. And of course, my man, Don Terrell, who is a LinkedIn interviewer, and he's an influencer anyway. So he'll be there interviewing everyone who come across his table, including all of the filmmakers who will be attending that day. And then, as I mentioned before, Mafia Wars is going to be a special presentation of the film. And like I said before, starring Tom Welling. Yes, Smallville Superman himself. This is his new film, and directed by Scott Windhauser, and also starring his wife as well. And also, I'm going to be showcasing my film as well. I should be able to fit it in there. So, as you know, I'm a filmmaker, and if all of you guys say, "Well, listen, you know what, you're giving out advice and all that stuff, but what have you done?" Well, just let you know, I've been doing this for like 25 or more years. I've done a bunch of short films, and I recently, maybe a couple of years ago, did 2 full-length features, which is a part 1 and part 2, and it's called A World of Worlds, where you can go ahead and see it on Tubi TV. Tubi. Just Tubi by itself. Just put in my name, you'll see A World of Worlds, and then A World of Worlds, Rise of the King. So I want to show A World of Worlds to you. And this one was no money involved, strictly all just independent, low budget as anything. Got a bunch of great casts. There's a group of great people who believe in the story and just want to do and see it succeed, and we did. And it took us about 5 years, man, to do both of those films. And with no money, we just kind of scrambled what we had and got the time, just put in time when we can. And a lot of, got cast members who have families and everything else. So just trying to kind of get everybody together at once. And it was daunting, but you know what? We did it. And I did pretty much everything except for the visual effects and the music that was done by the visual effects was done by Prakash Kamarajan. You can check him out on IMDb. And then my first one was done by Michael Vignolo, who you're going to see on December 4th. And then the other one was done by a gentleman by the name of Andrea Bellucci, and he's in LA, and he did my music for the second one. So this was all done just by all independent guys and gals. We just got together and we did this sci-fi adventure, and we did the best we could with what we had, and we got distribution. So that's all we can ask, So anyway, so I'm going to showcase one else so you can see what I did, and you can see what my cast did and what we do. Let me just go back to myself here. Whoop, hold on. Lost myself. There we go. Cool. So, yeah, everyone, just move this away. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions about GainesCon, about what we do let me know. We are, and just to go back a little bit, something that kind of glazed over because I really want to get to what we're doing in December 4th and 5th. GainesCon is a nonprofit organization designed to showcase, educate, and produce the work of aspiring filmmakers whose content lies within the action, sci-fi, fantasy, and horror film genre by showcasing your work on an annual film festival that we're doing in December. Also having workshops, free workshops with industry professionals in various sectors to give you lessons on where you want to go and how to get to it. You know what I mean? So this is what we're building here in Vegas, and this is what we're about. Just helping the next generation of action, sci-fi, fantasy creators get together and start world building and start making the next best and next best film within the genre, all time. There's so many. So if you are, want to be a director, you're a screenwriter, you're a visual effects artist, you want to be in stunts, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be an entertainment lawyer, you want to know more about that, we can get entertainment lawyers in the game. We can get also when it comes down to mental health, which is a very big deal when it comes down to doing any of these films. Also, just being a progressive person, moving forward. Also, health is a very big deal, just to go back on that, because not just the mental health, but also your physical health, because your mental health affects your physical health. And we're going out there looking for doctors and just just health professionals to let you know what to do when you're in this industry, and if you're on the set, how to kind of go about habits to kind of keep you on track. Because a lot of these larger films do have first responders there, they do have psychologists on there. So these are people that we're going to have on board for to be part of our workshops to help you as a performer move ahead, move more confident, and move safely along the lines of this crazy business that we're in. It's a fantastic industry. Like any industry, you're going to have its bugs, but I'm going to have people come around that's going to help you maneuver around everything to make sure that you have the most successful time moving forward in your career, especially when it comes to independent, because I'm really talking to all the independent artists, okay, about saying, okay, listen, let's just try to get you to the next level. Now, most people say, hey, listen, I can just go online, I can just do a bunch of videos, and I can just kind of get subscribers and all that. But that's all well and good to kind of get people to know you. But you need, as a performer, you need to perform, right? When it's live bullets, when there is something on the line. It's a little different than you just going in front of a camera, saying what you have to say, designing things the way you want to do it, when you are responsible for maybe someone else's investment on you, when you're responsible for money, when you're responsible for the reputation of somebody else through the course of your actions because you're collaborating somehow, is different. It is nothing more. There's not a better lesson than being in that situation or speaking to people who do this for a living. So understand the difference. All right. So, because you may have, just to say this, just to be honest, guys, all because you have a lot of followers, that's great. If you're in the game, cool. But a lot of people are not. And you're not in that fire. You're not where what you do makes a big deal on someone else's life, and it does. And you know what? Even if you don't know that, it does anyway when you actually speak online. That this does make a difference. So whatever you say, someone's getting affected by it. But actually, when you're performing, say you're an actor, you're performing in a film. Now you're performing in an environment that is paid for, an environment that is looking for a return, an environment that everybody is very serious about. And a lot of times you're going to be around these people who do it for a living. And that's how you learn to be and do what you do for life, and and really understand if you really want to be in the game. Because when you get in the game and it's live, when it's live, and it means some shit to a lot of people, you'll see whether or not you want to be in it or not. And all in all, that's the truth. And once you get over that, you can work it out. You can, you'll have a good time. And as long as you understand how that works, you'll be fine. I mean, it's just something that you just need to have experience on when it really, really matters, to a lot of people about what you do. You know what I mean? So anyway, this is why we having workshops to speak to those who do it for a living, to speak to those who have gone through that pressure, and to those who currently go through that pressure every time they get a gig, because they get to a certain level. So this is what we're all about, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you, everyone, for looking at this. If you're watching this a re-air and you're checking me out and you hear me rattle on about stuff, I really appreciate your time and your support. Everyone out there, I appreciate all your support all the time. I may not do many of these just because I'm always running around trying to build this new space for the action, sci-fi, fantasy, and horror filmmaker here in Las Vegas, and just trying to make a new space that you haven't seen before. Bring you things in a film space that you don't really hear too much about. Provide education, provide opportunity, and provide a place where people can collab, not just talk stuff, but actually get together, start filming stuff, start writing stuff like that day, that minute with those people. You know what I mean? That is what I'm building. So that's why we're always looking for donations. We're always looking for contributors of any kind. If any of you want to help us bring this forward, help build this new space, love to hear from you. We can go over all the particulars and let's build something great, because it all starts with you. It all starts with one foot in front of the other, like anything else. And without you guys, without the support of all of you artists that's always, helping me out, everyone out there who's always contributing, and you know who you are, we could not have this move forward or even have this available for anybody. So I cannot wait for December 4th and 5th here in Las Vegas at the Palms Hotel in the Brennan Theater to showcase all this fantastic independent work from around the world, and have our special guests sit there and just speak to everybody, and everyone speaking to them and just sharing their thoughts and just having a great time, and everybody of like mind come together and talk and possibly make the best and biggest IP you ever see in your life. That's the key. You know what I mean? That's the key. Build, 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 and build. Let's keep growing, guys. All right. Love you all. See you guys in the next stream, probably later on in a week or so. So I have a lot to do, a lot of things to get ready for the event. And like I said, if you need to hear from me, you want to hear from me, you want to say something, please just reach out to me. All right. All right. Let me get out of here. All right. Love you guys. Peace.